yes, here we go. It is the T.N.F. tonight. We hand over the keys to you, and we take all your points in and go through them all. Obviously, we start the show with whatever current affairs there are. There's a few right now that we will be talking about. I think it'd be fair to say that the implosion after the cup final is still quite over yet. I don't know. My advent calendar's not got as many days on it as the amount of days that Rangers want to talk about a penalty decision that now has been confirmed by the SFA should have been given. It wasn't really a big highlight at the time. It all seems to be after the event. For me, it wasn't even the biggest wrong decision of the day. The biggest wrong decision was letting Clement pick his 5 players for the shootout, which included a substitute left back and a goalkeeper. Where they get the idea from that they would score said penalty and then have the ability to see the game out on the back of that is fucking beyond me. But if we want to still keep talking about it, I'm more than happy to do so. Obviously, the SAB intervening is a bit of a talking point. Also, potentially, as I've in particular, I think I've been speculating on it since Rodgers returned. I thought the return of Kieran Tierney would be high on his priority list from day one. I think it has been, to be perfectly honest with you. But it looks like the stars are aligning now with his contract not being renewed, ending at the end of this season. That could become a reality, and I would guess if it does, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see KT back at Celtic in January. There'll be many talking points on that, and I've got a few opinions on it. I'm sure the judge as ever does as well. So I look forward to getting into all that. And then, of course, as always, use the hashtag TNF and get your points in, and we will get through as many of them as we can. Pato's already got one in, so I'm just starring. You hit a wee star and then you can say the comments. So I've done that already for Pato's. I'm not ready yet, but we'll get through all that in the second half of the show. Judge, how are you?
I'm doing very well, mate. I'm just living on, some sort of 72, 96 hour, whatever, quantum leap for Sunday. I just feel like the game's not finished yet. I'm still going about this. I mean, cards on the table, boys. I'd be raging myself. I'd probably have a wee rant for a day or so, but it's got to a stage now where even I've just stopped laughing at the fact that they're up in arms and I'm just getting bored of it. Pretty sure folks still want to bask in it. That's fine. Sometimes, like my brother was saying to me today, sometimes it's better when we win like that because it makes it a bit more salty for them. But I'm just getting fed up with it now. I think there's positives this week with Celtic becoming the most successful club in the Milky Way and in the universe. I mean, in the multiverse, whatever, and also another game ticked off. And December's been a right month for Celtic, boys. Let's get right here. This is the fixtures, and our game ticked off. Santa Claus is around the corner. We're probably bringing back.
Hopefully, not getting booed this year.
He's not getting booed, mate. He's not getting booed. Hopefully, he brings back the best left back I've ever seen play for Celtic and probably will ever see. And hopefully that's in the workings. But I have got my reservations looking into that.
Definitely. It'd be a nice Christmas present, though. I think there for the optics wise, I think it would be a real blockbuster move. Do all that good stuff as well before we get stuck in. Remember, give us a wee like, give us a share, buy some hair. And if you want to become a Bhoys of Us member, it's $1.99 a month. There's loads of yous that are doing it. We can't thank you enough for that. Like Gary Brown, Daryl, Jim Dolan. Who else we got? Alex Forsyth. He's been here since day one. Ali, another loyal member for a long time as well. There's loads of yous in there, so I'll not go through everyone, but thank you very much for that. And of course, remember to do hit that like button. And if you've not subscribed already, why fucking not? It's totally free to subscribe. And remember, if you are already subscribed and you've not hit the bell, then hit the bell and you never miss a bus. If you do like a wee tasty pastry treat over the festive holidays, and I don't mean mince pies of variety, I mean the traditional sort of football type mince pies or steak pies or loads of other varieties on piesports.com, then head over there and use the code BUS1888, 12.5% off. I think that's the best I've ever read that out so far. I'm getting better at it. I've been doing it 2.5 years.
You'll get there, mate. I mean, you get better as the weeks go on, mate. I mean, it's just getting there. My dad was just talking about 2 pies a day. He's going to buy some of the at a show. I don't know what show it was, but
Right.
Only the code only works online. That's the only thing. So if anybody wants to buy them, just take advantage of the code. You know what I mean? Because I don't think the shop takes codes.
Right, okay. No, that's fair enough. That's good knowledge, mate. Good knowledge. I like that.
I'm
And
fully, mate.
you are, mate. You are definitely no two ways about it. Right, okay. SFA released their Silly VAR show. Apparently that they've been doing that once a month anyway, or something like that, or fucking once a week, or funnily enough, straight after this final.
Very
And
quick.
they've came out and they've acknowledged that it should have been a penalty, etc., and it was the wrong decision. They've. I listened to the audio, and I have to be honest. I do think that seems to me like there's almost a wee bit of they've went from one extreme to the other, and I'll tell you why I think that. See, when VAR was first implemented, Mark, one of the major talking points, that's the benefit of being able to do something like the bus. You remember so many Celtic conversations you've had because you're doing it in this sort of environment that they're easier to come back to you because of that. And I can remember one of the bones of contention, like to me and yourself discussed, was the time it was taken for VAR to make decisions. And I think they've acknowledged that and they've tried to work on it. But first and foremost, the purpose of VAR is to get the right decision. And then you want it to be a slicker operation. Remember at one point, every goal Celtic scored, it was like 3 minutes after we scored before the game re-kicked off. Do you mind all that?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think there's been a conscious move by them to go like, right, okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to make decisions swiftly, poignantly, have a look. What do you think? Yay or nay? And we'll keep the game going. But in this instance, of course, that's came them a cropper. And they've had to come out and they've had to, sort of accept the decision was wrong. What it is, though, people are looking for from this, I'm not quite sure. Because the audio does clearly show incompetency if the decision is definitely a penalty, which I think, to be fair, it is. Right? It should be. And they've got it the wrong way around. They've read it like he's out the box. Definitely the box. Yep, right, cool. Right. End that cycle. On to the next. But keep the game going. We're happy here. Now, in doing that release of the audio, what were people though expecting to hear? But this seemed to be getting hyped up like, oh, we're going to prove, that there's been cheating going on. That was never going to be the case because we know that there's none of that. We know there is a fact of one occasion where there was a bit of pockling going on, and that was the referee, Dougie McDonald, I think his name was, Celtic Dundee United, when Lenny was in charge, if we remember.
Yeah.
That is real life bona fide fact of a bit of coercion and a bit of mischief. If they honestly thought there was going to be a smoking gun coming for the FA against Rangers, that suddenly they are actually cheating with you in plain sight, then I'm sure they'll be sadly disappointed that, see the argument they've used against us the whole time about incompetency, then, well, do you know what? That's all it's been, and that's all it's been proved to be. Would I be raging as well? Yes, you would. But what outcome do you think they're searching for still going forward here? The guys that did the VAR, they've been dropped for the weekend. They've had a statement come out and acknowledge that their protests are, or their condemnation of that decision has been proven correct. What do they want to go for? Like a replay the League Cup final, and I touched on it at the start of the show, on nothing guaranteed about them scoring a penalty. Nothing strikes me of decision making by Philip Clement and that motley crew. They can handle pressure and and make right decisions under pressure and then execute them under pressure. In fact, they're the biggest bunch of bottle jobs I've ever met in my life. So there's a bit of me that goes, I wish she fucking had the penalty. She fucking missed it anyway, probably. This ad that they win the cup if they get that penalty is so far removed from reality. And they took this in why they didn't win that final. They had a 4-on-1 at one point. They couldn't get past CCV, let alone the keeper. They had a first half where Celtic was so bad, Rangers managed to achieve a 1-0 lead. And that was it. They came out and shat the bed. We came out pissed off and went 2-1 up and then led again a third time. And they, by hook or by crook, got there to 3-3, and fair play to them for that. But in terms of this being a given that they get this penalty and suddenly it's James Tavernier lifting a cup, I mean, it doesn't happen often. So I don't know where this belief comes from that that's how the game would then pan out after. For me, it's been dealt with. There's been an acknowledgement. There's been a demotion for the guys that are involved. I'm afraid you just need to close the door on it now. The audio's been released. What do you think they're looking for in this? And how far do you think this is going to roll on for? I think it's Clement's press conference tomorrow, I believe. That will then increase this narrative. I'll tell you what I think it is. This is all now about ensuring, come the 2nd of January, they get things in their favour. They're shitting themselves that they've not won the League Cup. They're going to be completely out of the league if we normally do in this fixture and win it at Ibrox. And I think now it's mission, ramp up the pressure on the ref, 2nd Jan. What's your thoughts?
Well, there's always that side that, I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, Rangers love nothing more than to be appalled by not getting their own decisions. You know what I mean? We've seen it for years now, boys. So that no matter how many penalty kicks or free kicks or red cards go in their favour, when one goes against them, it's they're running about with their hairs on fire. And I totally agree with you. I think what's missing in this full point is not a match commentator, and there was a few who were Rangers minded, nor an official, nor a player or management team at that moment in time was shouting for a penalty kick. This wasn't a running through one-on-one with the keeper and the referee pulling it back. This wasn't a goal chalked off that should have been chalked off. And this wasn't some sort of decision that was so abysmal that it changed football forever. This was something that happened after the match. Somebody said to come on, by the way, the word we've had is we should have got a penalty. Then it all became this big smoke screen. And they love a smoke screen, this mob, you know what I mean? There's always somebody else to blame for the wrongs that Ibrox know themselves. And that's good. To be honest with you, Jockstein says, if teams just think we're lucky, then we'll keep on carrying on doing this because it can't just be luck. We'll keep pulling away. I mean, you mentioned there about the VAR being incompetent and maybe the human error and all the rest of it. We heard the audio for match day one this season where a goalkeeper took Kyogo out of the game, penalty kick for Celtic, and what the audio proved to you was that the incompetence and bias against Celtic was still there. You had a referee, guys, just fell. You know what I mean? That's the way they were talking. They were talking like they were talking in the pub. And you seen a glimpse of it in Sunday there and all. They were that eager to maybe make a decision and go on with the match and get Tavernier the free kick that they maybe didn't realise that it could have been a penalty kick for them. I don't think for 1 minute that a referee in John Beaton standard or stature in the Orange Lodge, Andrew Dallas sniffing about, all this, that Moore sniffing about, we all know him. Do you also think that they woke up that morning and thought they're going to go their way to dismiss Rangers' penalty kicks? No, far from it. They were up that morning doing everything they can. There was one in the second half. The ball was played over by Callum McGregor, and Dazzy Maeda was running through 1-on-1. The referee then spun his head, saw Celtic go through 1-on-1. He spun his head, saw Celtic through 1-on-1, and blew the whistle, pulled it back, and the free kick was taken at the exact same moment. That's a referee literally using his influence to manipulate the outcome of a football match. He is literally manipulating the outcome of a football match. With Maeda have scored the 1-on-1, who knows? He scored a 40-yarder 1 minute. and can't pass a 2 yard pass in it. But the fact of the matter is, boys, I mean, referees, I mean, we saw one in Serie A 4 or 5 years ago in the documentary made, and referees, that's what people don't understand, especially when commentators and football phone-ins, and they start to get angry when people mention referees. Referees don't need to walk onto a park and give red cards and penalty kicks to influence a match. Stopping a match for no reason, speaking to a player who's on a second yellow card 4 or 5 times and not sending them off, telling players not to tackle which Rangers have been caught on this season. Referees telling them, don't tackle him because he was on a yellow card. Referees, when the clock's running down the Celtic a 1-0, doing a 1 each, speaking to opposition players for 3 or 4 minutes, for 35, 40 seconds, they don't have to, slowing the game down, idiotic free kicks, niggly fouls, the other niggly fouls going against us. Constant, that influences the momentum in a match, it annoys the fans, it annoys the players. You can materially influence the match as a referee with foot walking out and start sending players off and giving away penalties. That's a fallacy. That's a total utter fallacy. The fact of the matter is referees can influence games. Now on Sunday there, I mentioned it very quickly one with Maeda. There was that Rangers player, I can't remember his name now, Diamondi or whatever his name was. He escaped a red card twice. He was on a yellow card and he had 2 fouls. Yep. The same guy done a flying Jimmy Fly snooker suplex.
Mid waist, wasn't it? It was mid waist.
Well, no, at Celtic Park, he ran up and just on a
Oh,
touchdown, smacked Johnson as well in a different match
yeah.
and get away with it. I mean, as I'm saying, they're all doing these things after the ball. And I mean, let's just get very quickly. 3-4 years ago, there was a match, Boy Mad, Beaton was in charge, and there was like, I am not lying, about 5 instances where a red card should have been dished out to Morales. He denied every single one of them, and then that night went to a Rangers supporters club with his Tony England jumper on, right? Can you imagine? And nothing said there. Can you imagine if he on Sunday night had went to the Brazen Head for a pint? Can you imagine that the SFA would say something, the Scottish press would say something? You probably have Starmer coming up to England with 4,000 troops to set fire to Celtic Park. Can you imagine the outrage that would happen in Scottish football if that happened? Yet we see none of that at all. And yet, when Beaton decided to go to a Rangers pub after a total biased shit show of performance, nothing was said about it. But if we did that, if he went to a Celtic supporters club, the place would be an uproar. I mean, it's these double standards. It's like I've always said, Rangers don't want double standards. They don't want equal standards. They want their own standards. They want things to be going their way. And the very, very second it doesn't go their way, their hair's on fire and they're upside down, screaming in rage. I couldn't give a flying fuck about the fact they never got a penalty, because I'd be speaking for 14 months without taking a breath if I was to list back just the things I can remember. Never mind the things I forgot. So they can go away and greet in their bunkers. I couldn't give a fuck, boys, because we won the trophy at full time. We get the trophies, we get the medals. It's now Thursday and we're still hearing pish for folk. Just go on with it, mate. Go on with your lives. It's Christmas.
Interesting. I mean, I like this Kierdo. I mean, if he comes in and says, if we're to believe the old adage of these things even themselves out, then I must believe that the penalty that never was a penance for the lack of fucks in the middle of the pitch. Well, I'd go further than that. I think if it was things even themselves out, Mark, maybe when they said that back in the day, it was meant to be like over the piece. And this is us just getting some decisions back to even themselves out.
All the
years you're referring to. Well, they told us that was the rule. They told us it will even itself out over a season. They were honest mistakes. So do you know what? I now believe you.
Okay.
I now actually. What's that, pal?
So we've got 120 years of having good decisions now. Oh, I can't wait.
Well,
They've been 120 years.
I just want to say to them, though, thanks for the words of wisdom at the time, because it's definitely now coming to fruition that it evens itself out. They're honest mistakes. I think it's spot on. See, the more I think about it, I was at your order back in the day. You are right. You are always right. Honest mistakes happen in football matches. There's a competency issue, and he even himself out. So we'll move on. We don't want to move on now because of a League Cup. Fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Gives peace, but they've went on long enough about it, Mark, that don't know if my Wi-Fi's dropping it there. But I think there was plenty of examples as well that Balogun could have been off park as well, to be honest with you. But if you want to run through them all, go watch something else, because it won't be on here. I think we've spoken about it long enough. In exciting news, Sky reported today after some early murmurings in the old tabloids this morning, Sky kind of, when they come out with these stories, tend to be a wee bit more on the money, I think, anyway. And they've said, particularly when a Premier League club's involved, do you know what I mean? Because they've got a hell of a lot of links in these insiders, sources, etc. in the EPL. So I think when they released, I think it's them as well that said his contract won't be getting renewed.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the bold Kieran Tierney, of course. And now they've released an article as well this afternoon saying Celtic are interested. It's not could be, well, the rumours have it. It's a definitive Celtic want to bring Kieran Tierney back. I'll be honest, I've got a take on it, and I can see why people are concerned from a playing point of view, right? In terms of, where's his body at, where's it's not. Well, let me play devil's advocate to that. And let me say, why do you think he's got a body that is breaking down considerable on him? I can point to one of the main reasons that happens, and there's quite a few examples of it in football. And it tends to be when prodigal talents are overplayed far too young. Mike Owen being a great example that you could use, Kieran Dyer, people like this. That when they get to the late 20s, they get a hell of a lot more injuries because they were simply overplayed when they were younger. If that's the case, and we still made 25 million on this guy, had incredible memories of him, incredible performances from him at all levels, Champions League, Europa League, and derbies, cup finals. Kieran Tierney was a superstar for us, banked his 25 million, and was one of our star players in our purest Celtic side as a 17, 18-year-old. And was actually a beacon of hope, not a beacon of hope. See what I did there? But a beacon of hope in what was a really, I think, as dull a time as I can remember being a Celtic fan. Do you know that? And that was the Ronnie Dial a couple of years. No offence to Ronnie, he's like a good guy.
But
it was fucking shite, mate. But Tierney was the one that gave you real hope. I think when Rodgers came in, he transformed what was a really exciting prospect into, by the time he was 19, 20, a guy scoring goals against Man City in the Champions League and playing, extremely well in these sort of fixtures as well. What's the fucking score with us not doing him a wee bit of a turn back? He gave everything for us when he was there, banked us a fortune. Are we going to be all just mini Peter Lowells now? Is that the Celtic way? Is it that you turn your back on your own if he's pining to come home, which I'm going to guess is the only way it could come to fruition, because there's other clubs that have far more money than us that would still take a punt on Kieran Tierney on 80 grand a week rather than the 30 that we'd be able to offer. There is. If he's 100%. Willing to do that for us, are we going to honestly start being snobs towards one of our own? Are we going to start being like that? Are we all going to turn into wee mini Lowells who just look at it from a cynical business point of view football? Are you going to go, see 5 years of injury hit Kieran Tierney at Celtic? Does it come close to the £25 million of excellent performances he's put in his first spell? And by the way, see over the injury hit spell he still has, he'll still be the first, one of the first names in the team sheet is fully fit. And the bigger the occasion, hopefully the more protected he'll be to be able to start those games if managed to play this time around. So I don't know. I think there's a wee bit of a lack of romanticism about it, if anything. People don't think that should come into your thinking for some reason sometimes. But then flip it the other way. I want to call people rats and things like that for making what was maybe just a business move for Rodgers. There's 10 million a year at Leicester, 8 million a year at Leicester instead of 2 million at us. Nobody thought, where's the romanticism with Rodgers? No, he's a rat for leaving. Kieran Tierney wants to come back for a third of the wage. Nah, we're not having it. I don't like that, to be honest with you. I think he's got the credit in the bank. And I tell you this as well. See, when he does sign, the romanticism will creep back up on you. Because when he's outside Celtic Park, the Celtic scarf over his head, there will be a turnout for it. That would be the return of one of our favourite sons, if you like. And I guarantee you, we've not had a player that could come back and create that sort of excitement and draw, I don't think, in a hell of a long time in terms of profile and what he means to us on a sentimental level. So why not have these wee bits spread throughout it? And by the way, a wee bit of loyalty to the boy too.
Well, sha-la-la-la-la-la. I'd take him back in a second, mate. My concerns don't fall on how much money we need to pay for him or the outlay. Not at all. I mean, first of all, the player himself is probably above Scottish football standards. Let's get real here, right? He's a superstar, right, in terms of Scottish football. Probably, as I say, the best I've seen anyway. But my worry would be we can't pick and choose what 10, 15 games a season he's got to be fit for. If it's going to be Livy at home, he's fit for, and miss Rangers at Ibrox and Hearts at Tynecastle on a Wednesday night, and it's no really paying for itself. But I'm not concerned about the money. My concern would be that we have to get somebody who's a level above Taylor and Vahe, obviously, who's willing to sit on the bench, maybe play 30 games, maybe play 5, but who's not going to start grinding his gears and start mumbling and moaning about not getting a game, but can step in and perform for as long as it has to be, or as short as it has to be for. We need to kind of find that balance where somebody can be at a level that's going to progress Celtic, be a second choice, and be happy to be a second choice / first choice during injuries. Because we could get Tierney back and he could play 50 games and he could be fucking nowhere near the injured player that we all think he is. It's just this. I don't know. Sometimes you get a narrative, but I did read this morning that I think I don't know if this is true, but he's missed the last something like 68 games or something like that through injury or something in league football. It sounds like a lot, boys. Saying I do think somebody that's 27. That's probably a large proportion of his football in life, you know what I mean, so far. But we saw the best of him, I think. Well, not the best of his ability, but we saw the best of his injury-free years, although his last maybe, 8-10 months was kind of stop-start, wasn't it? So I don't think I'm going to be honest with you, boys, I don't think we owe the boy yet, you know what I mean? As much as he's just in the
From a
very, very
supporter's
minimum.
point of view, do you not think though? I think the supporters' negativity towards it just
No,
baffles
I don't
me.
understand that. I mean,
That's what I don't like.
I don't understand that at all. I mean, see if you think he's not going to improve the team, for me, it's a bad opinion, but it's still an opinion. That's fine. We can debate that. But if you're just being no because you want to look at the negatives in it, and I think you just try to find an argument against it. There might be folk out there that think, and again, they're wrong in my opinion. They think that Kieran Tierney won't fit into this system, or he's just no the right man for the football's evolved, or all that kind of carry on. That's fine. You can debate that again, although I say I think you're right. But I don't think football is about. There's a lot of romanticism about Celtic. Celtic as a football club has got romance all the way through it, and no, I don't mean the lights off kind of romance. I mean, you look at a lot of Celtic's history. It's littered with moments that key men coming back to the club, like Jock Stein getting told he can't be the manager, and coming back and turning into the best ever manager. Betty Old going away, coming back. Players being told they're too small, coming back. You know what I mean? Things like that. You know, that's happened in all your history. That there's romanticism about Celtic, and Kieran Tierney might just be the right man at the right time. Now, who knows? English football. You look at the players, and I've seen the English teams up at Celtic Park a few times, and they're different looking. These guys are specimens. These guys are fucking athletes, beyond athletes, boys. Even their youth players have got fucking 40-inch thighs. You know what I mean? Maybe the physical side of it. I mean, we get a lot of physical jibes about Scottish football, but Scottish football is more technical than that. But maybe the physical side in England is maybe a bit too much for Kieran Tierney. Maybe Scottish football suited to him. Maybe he can play 30 games this season with a less stringent, training base and a less stringent kind of physical demands during a match day. Who knows? But I think there's any doubt in the boys' ability. But boys, to see if he walks out in that back, you can forget Carter Vickers being the shining light in that defence. If he walks out in that defence and plays 80% to what he used to be, in their mind, a guy who'd been in the EPL for 4 years, he will be the top guy in this country in a heartbeat.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Oh, I love it.
I mean, Kieran Tierney was doing things. I said before, I don't watch a lot of world football, so I'm not going to lie, but I don't think there would have been a left back better than him at his age group when he was at Celtic between 19 and 21 and 22. There just couldn't have been, boys. He was playing at elite level because he was stepping up. We've got players like Carl McGregor, who for me plays at an elite level quite a lot of the time, but when he plays elite games, he gets found out. Kieran Tierney was playing elite level in elite games. And that's when you know players are elite, you know what I mean? And we've seen flashes of it with guys like Dembele. We've seen flashes of it with many Celtic players back in the early 2000s who could compete at the top level with foot breaking a sweat. Kieran Tierney was doing that, boys. So there wasn't I never saw the guy in a match ever where I felt that he was in the wrong movie. I thought he was on the beat every match, you know what I mean? And nothing would be more Celtic than Kieran Tierney to sign the 1st of January. Come on, the last 10 minutes at Ibrox, pull off a last ditch tackle, score a winning goal. You know what I mean? That's romantic about it. That's the side that I know. I think it's written in the stars for the guy to come back. You know what I mean? He's a Celtic fan. His bio on his page for the day letters have been Celtic. Don't forget, there's folk on their page, in their fan base, and who talk about Van Dijk like he was this. Van Dijk, the day he before he left for Celtic, when he was still a Celtic player, deleted every single Celtic post to his Instagram and Twitter page. Deleted the full lot of Celtic out his full social media when he was still a Celtic player.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I know he did, boys. I was on Clyde One that day
talking about
the guy. That's the first time I was on Clyde One because he hadn't signed yet, and I phoned up Clyde One to talk about it. I said they must be gone because He's took every single reference to Celtic off of all his social media. And Kieran Tierney's still got that in his bio. You know what I mean? The Celtic fans, and he's still got KT. I know it's probably a bit cheesy, but you know what? Things like, you know, the day last in the memory.
Do you know what else it is for me? See what else
they
it
would
is
take
for
back
me?
Wanyama in a second, you know. They would take back Wanyama.
Oh, they did. Everyone wanted Wanyama back. Midfield enforcer.
A guy who was in England before Celtic said Southampton want you. Before they finished that sentence, he was already doing. Don't forget, remember the guy he refused to train? Celtic had a pre-season match and he refused to train Wanyama because he wanted to deal through the end of the line. He refused to train that day. And if he refused to line up in a match day squad and all. Nobody mentions that, you know what I mean? Yeah. But he was taken back with an open top parade and all the rest of it. Kieran Tierney again went to Arsenal, drop your hat up for 80 grand a week. I'd do the same. But you can't pick and choose what standards you have for people, boys. You've got
exactly, mate. Do you know what else I think, you know, which is really important too? It's an ally for Brendan. And I think that's been a huge thing in the reason James Forrest has been, I think last season, towards the end of last year, I think he was the most integral parts of us winning the league in the end. But the reason is you need to have allies, right? Managers love going back to players they've worked with before. We've seen throughout time. People think this is a new thing or anything like that, or it can't be based on that. Look at Martin O'Neill. Neil Lennon, he was desperate for the day he went to Celtic. Martin O'Neill wanted Neil Lennon there because he knew. He also attempted to get Robbie Savage, I think, at one point. Muzzy is it. I think Matt Elliott next summer fell through, but he then brought in Steve Guppy as well. And the whole purpose of that was, guys, I've worked with before that I know. I'm going to. I think whilst your project's evolving, sometimes having something you just know he does exactly what it says in the you've got that connection with. I'm not needing to still work out how I manage this guy, like in terms of how I speak to him, how I motivate him. Do you know what I mean? How I get his juices flowing. Just you've got a tried tested, right? Me and him know each other that well. What's that?
Kasper
Schmeichel. Fuck. Great shout, Marc, from Rodgers. And don't think that doesn't matter. Because see when you've got the guy in the ground going, oh no, the manager's right there, by the way. He's top, by the way. I've came for the EPL. So you'll see how they'll talk about him there. Yada, just someone, mate, constant on your back. And it felt to me a bit when Rodgers came in. And this is probably not a dig at Callum McGregor or Forrest, but I don't get the vibe there, that type where they would be maybe stirring the pot a wee bit or doing a bit of spin on behalf of a manager. Do you know what I mean? They're just probably really, really good professionals. In fact, we know they are. But I think guys like they've got a bit of personality. Like a KT just in his shorts and t-shirts. Do you know what I mean? He's obviously got a bit about him. He'll say things. Do you know what I mean? To carry sway for the manager. Kasper Schmeichel undeniably has. And what I would also add to that is, isn't it awfully funny that whatever message Brendan was trying to get across to the team in terms of stylistically on the pitch and get them to all have a buy-in from him that we felt he was struggling to do last season, suddenly has looked like he's bang on message this year. Do you not think the presence of an extra ally in your ranks helps that cause? It's got to play a part. It's just common sense. KT would be a big, big part of that. And for me, it's a no-brainer. And Celtic, I think, whether it's Celtic or been interested, I think for a fact Brendan Rodgers has been wanting, I'm pretty sure I was told, that was high in his shopping list for day one. Not now. Like, this has been a constant, mate. This is something the manager wants. There's something the manager wants to get done. And yeah, we could talk about the injuries and things like this, but let's get him managed right. Let's get him in the fucking door. Let's have that sparkle over Celtic in January as well, because it would be a signing that would stop the clocks a bit for a wee second or two. You know what I mean? Well, we all go, that is a wee moment in time. Something to really, really get hyped up about. And then, obviously, it's up to Celtic and KT how it then plays out from then, and a wee bit of luck as well. But nothing about it.
We spoke, boys. We spoke a few weeks ago, and we just talked about the O'Neill era, and we mentioned about guys like Alan Thompson and Chris Sutton to a less extent. We were saying it's the days he always going into an EPL team and taking 27-year-olds and 28-year-olds for the EPL are over. This is a chance to take a 27-year-old for an EPL top six.
Great shout as well.
I mean, and if his name was Kieran Tierney and he was maybe just somebody who had been at a high level at Arsenal at one point and get injured, the conversation would be a bit different. You'd be going, get him fit, what a player you've got. You know what I mean? Where it seems to be like his fitness is one of the first thing you speak about. Well, I genuinely think that I've got reservations. I mean, I'd press a button on him and buy him straight away, but it doesn't mean that I'm not blind to the fact that we might miss it. As long as the work's done properly, you don't want a situation where the second choice falls off a cliff. See if we can get like somebody who's
Would
I
that
don't
would
want
it not be
you
more
know what I mean?
sellable?
Somebody who's not going to somebody who can come in and do a job, no mowing, and still be capable of getting you through the time Castle's away, maybe Ibrox, maybe a cup run. If we can get that, there's no downside to getting guys like Kieran Tierney to carry to another title. There's just no downside to it at
I'd
all.
be looking at someone like that Penrice at Hearts right now. You bring someone like that in and go, look, it's going to be Kieran Tierney who's ahead of you, or Katie's already in the door. You go get someone like that Penrice and you go, but you're going to get 20, 30 starts here, all being
Aye.
well. Right, there's going to be a chance to play because, firstly, whether KT's picking up the knocks or not, we're not starting him 2 games a week all the time. If needs must, then he will. Say it was like the example we just seen there, a midweek Champions League game, and then a game against Rangers. You'd be looking for KT to do over and above and do his 2 games for someone with that injury record. But the rest of the thing, you'd be saying to a young prospect, Penrith's just an example, by the way. I'm not hanging my hat on that. Someone like that, you could go, you're making a big step up here, getting the chance to come to Celtic, but also you're not coming here just to warm the bench. You are going to get minutes, and it's going to be based on how we actually manage as well KT's sort of game time. So I think that would work. And also, Henrik McLarsson comes in, and he's saying, how many homegrowns will be leaving in January? Well, who knows? But definitely, you've got KT coming in. That would add to that homegrown list as well, or certainly, help with that cause for the homegrown list for Europe and things like that. Also,
I seen Welsh as part of the three that's supposed to be actively trying to get out of the club. I think Welsh is one of them. So that would replace Welsh. But even at that, you know what I mean. He's not coming in to be like a Welsh figure who would make up the numbers for the Scottish contingent. He'd be coming in to improve your first 11. So it ticks all the boxes, you know what I mean. And even if Greg Taylor's going out and you're replacing a Scottish internationalist with somebody who's far above him, Boys, and I just don't see the downside. I think as well it was sent what a message it was sent to the Celtic fans and to the rest of Scottish football that we can still attract that level of football player. Put his injuries aside, if the books are opened up on January the 1st, there'll be EPL teams 100% looking at Kieran Tierney. They wouldn't mind if he plays for 20 games. As you said, they'd fling 80 grand at him, Boys, and even blink. So this is a guy who would have offers. We'd be competing with I think we won one horn on the trophy already. We'd be competing with these teams because he's Celtic daft. He's a Celtic man, and I think some of the things that went against him leaving, like, he's a Celtic boy, how can he do this? I think as well, like Rodgers, there's a wee bit of a prodigal son about it. You know what I mean? Coming back, cap in hand, ready to just beg for forgiveness and let me rewrite my history at Celtic. I think there's a bit of that take. Kieran Tierney. I think Kieran Tierney, if Celtic were in the EPL, Kieran Tierney would probably been a lifer. He would probably been an 18 to 32 at Celtic, but it's not simple as that now. There's money to be made in EPL. So the guy would love to come back and play for Celtic. And a 27-year-old come to Celtic Park is not the same as a 33-year-old Robertson whacking back for 7 months. You know what I mean?
Oh, Henry McLarson's came back and said he'll come back up the road with a Waitrose bag. Now, there's good battle to this. So I don't know if you remember. It was when he was just joined Arsenal and he came out with his boots. They were just in a Tesco bag.
I think I did.
And the players are like, there's photos of it that they're like, what the fuck? That's just how grounded he is, though, which I like. But then, of course, Larson's put on the spin that because he's been in London on the big bucks, it'll now be a Waitrose bag that he comes up with. That's a good battle, Henrik. Keep that up. That's quite clever. That I like that one, mate. Anyway, we will move on because there was a good point brought in that I just had up there, and it was the big man, Alex Forsyth. Great to have you on the bus, as always, Alex, my friend. And he's saying, T.N.F, do you think we need another centre-back? We need to move on Welsh and Nawrocki and get another right-sided centre-back. What's the script with Gabriel? Is he out on loan right now? I don't think we'd sold him, did we?
He's on loan, I think, to the Belgium team.
It's loan, though, isn't it? So he's still in the books.
I know Nawrocki was talking in summertime if he didn't get starts by January, he's got to go back to Legia Warsaw on loan. So I'd look at for that. But you need to replace these players. Not really. I think you could blow the two up with some sort of scud missile when nobody would miss them. But in terms of numbers, and do something, I think a left back and a midfielder and a winger is more important than a centre back. To be honest with you, because we'll go three there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 3 for the 2, but one of them with the injury record that CCV has does leave you then a bit of a tightrope with 2. I mean, what I would look at it is if Celtic, who are tight as fuck most of the time, could justify having 6 centre-backs on their books at one point, to drop it to just 3 would be, I think, a wee bit remiss. I'd be like, come on. I think there should be a right-sided centre-back being looked at right now as support for Cameron Carter-Vickers, who I don't understand the criticism he's now getting. Take the first half out because Celtic was shy, period. I thought he did a hell of a lot of good in that second half and extra time at the weekend. But I do worry that keeping up 120-minute matches, followed by tricky away matches this weekend, followed by another midweek game after that, I think is a lot, can take its toll. I don't think Trusty's the answer at right centre-back. I think Trusty and Scales are in a good battle for that left side.
We missed Scales and we missed Scales on Sunday. I think it was a tactical decision by the manager. They wanted their centre backs wanted pushing forward, and I take a point on Cameron Carter-Vickers. See when you play at that higher level, boys, you see you start to drop off. People, they begin to panic and start looking for reasons for it. I think he's not come back as strong as he has been. I think if he got a penalty kick, I think they kick the ball backwards. He's not very good on the ball this season. He's always looking for the back pass. That's annoying, folk. And Scales is probably the only one out of the three of them who will do the Christopher Ayer stuff and just run with the ball. Whether that ball is good at the park or no, you need that. If you need somebody to run with the ball, boys, and then open up spaces for Callum McGregor. Rangers get away with it the weekend there. The man marked Callum McGregor. There was space available for Trusty, who I'm not convinced about, I'm going to be honest, and Carter-Vickers to run into. The two of them refused to do it. And that's why the first half was so shoddy for Celtic. The second half, Rodgers knew we couldn't have another 15 minutes of this and put him on straight away. And within a couple of minutes of the second half starting, we were making runs through midfield. We were getting on the half turn. Hatate was looking like a football player for a while again. And you know, our best performance in the last month or so was Ross County at Celtic Park when Scales started. The Scales know the answer into the Champions League, and he's probably know the answer to a lot of questions in Scottish football, boys. But some players provide some things that Celtic need. I've said before, just quickly on Kieran Tierney, we don't need Kieran Tierney's ability as a defender in Scotland. We don't. We like Kieran Tierney's ability as an attacking player in Scotland and in Europe. And this is Scales as well. He's actually a pretty good defender, let's be honest here, especially in the air. But he provides something different for you. You need, if Celtic have got players are up against two strikers or a winger and a striker who are sitting after you, telling you to come on and play through the press. You need somebody to step out, boys. If you're not going to step out, that press is going to be a bit of an easy one to get out. Celtic got to pass it back to the keeper. Before you know, it's one of the chip balls at Greg Taylor, and he miscontrols it. And that happens time after time. Arthur Johnston too, who was picking the ball at the park the other day in the first half, left, right, and centre. I don't know if you remember that. It was like 3 or 4 in a row he did it. You know what I mean? But these things, when you've got somebody moving forward with the ball, if a centre-back moves forward, you remember Dedrick Bayata's time at Celtic, he used to run forward with the ball, right? Wasn't the best on the ball. What happened was the two options: close them down, open up space behind you, which Brendan Rodgers hopefully admits he wants to happen, or you pull off him and give Celtic yards like the NFL, and with players running over the park, Maeda's and the rest running behind them, and so teams can't cope with that, boys. It's the best to have a bad choice for them when a centre back runs towards them. You get centre backs that pass the ball left to right and backwards, like we're getting against Rangers in the first half. You're inviting pressure on. You're inviting Rangers to put two players on a wide man and just sit on them, and Celtic are confused what to do next. And that's what was happening in the first half. Scales come on, and bang, that option was changed altogether. Rangers were sitting 10, 15 yards behind where they were already, and straight away you're on the defensive rather than the offensive. And Rodgers fixed that in the first half. He didn't even get the normal 60 minutes. He said, I can't do this for another 15 minutes. I need to fix this now. And I think some appreciation is going to be given for what Scales gave us the other day there, even aside from the fact that some folk think it's a bit of a car crash and nearly gave away a penalty. Look at Arthur Johnson in his fixtures, boys. He nearly gives away penalties.
The 4-on-1 as well, mate.
Aye. That was a Greg Taylor coming out and all, and then Gregor's supposed to cover.
But where is Skills at that point? I think these things, if I'm honest, I genuinely think if it was the other way around, and that's Trusty, I think it's been way over criticised since he joined. I think in Champions League stuff, by the way, in terms of defending, I know who my money's on to be a better defender, and I think it's him, right? But in terms of the tactical decision, I get that. But that tactical decision is based on what we do with the ball. But what potential at William Scales being swapped on for Trusty, just for argument's sake, is a 4-on-1 in the second half and an extra time a penalty. That is the two.
That was our discipline for my opinion, at least Greg Taylor, and at most Greg Taylor and Carl McGregor. Because it's supposed to come in and cover.
Where's Scales?
If the centre back's going forward, Taylor's supposed to come in and cover. And then if Taylor's coming in and cover, Carl McGregor's supposed to drop back as well. I mean, it's not just a case of it's like at that level of football, it's chess pieces. Of course. Chess pieces.
I get that.
When I sit at Celtic Park, boys, see where the muscle fight, I can see these chess pieces being moved about. You know what I mean? And
so where was he on the camera then?
Even the camera, boys.
He spoke about this. He's not actually, if you actually look at the lens, that's what alarmed me most about Celtic there. Because this isn't me just singling out Skills, it was actually the rest of the team. No. But actually, being Terry, I said, he went, what fucking worried me about was it was only CCV, even on the TV actual screen.
Right.
You know, with that whole, I'm going, that is poor. And one thing I'll give trust to with that wee change of pace that he's got, he'd been the screen, mate. I'm just playing devil's advocate to the debate here, by the way. And then you also look at the penalty winning goal. Did it really work? Scales coming back on. If both them lead to goals, that's 2 goals that you could do. But did we have those chances offered up to Rangers in the first half? Not really. Yes, they had a better first half than us, but how many chances were created? Not many.
No.
So I think, do you know what I mean? These are debates, isn't it?
See that 4-on-1, that was an iron situation, and you don't find that with Rodgers much. So I think that's going to be, it's going to be at worst out-disciplined by a couple of players, boys, rather than a tactical decision by. I mean, look at me wrong. If you're chasing a goal in the last couple of minutes and you lose a goal like that, that's kind of fair, hands up. That can happen. But Celtic were getting ourselves into the game and pushing forward. That shouldn't happen. 4-on-1. We should have been 2-0 behind. 2-0 behind.
Totally agree, mate.
But I think that's tactical ill-discipline by. I mean, you could even fling Arthur Johnson into that equation as well, because surely you can't. You can't have your 2 fullbacks, your centre back, your number 6, or looking to face one direction, boys. So I think it's been ill-discipline, and I think.
But for the purpose of the debate between the 2 centre backs, though, mate, that's what I'm trying to say. These 2 chances have occurred. One should have been a penalty, confirmed by the SFA today, in case you didn't know. And the other one being that 4-on-1. They've both happened in Skills in the part, not Trusty. And if you're just looking at it black and white like that, I think, genuinely, mate, it would have been.
But this is the thing, boys.
I think Trusty came on, he'd have got more.
Totally.
That's just my opinion.
I think Celtic set up to win the match. Rangers set up not to lose the match. So I think Celtic's tactics will be essentially forward thinking, but with defensive discipline. Yeah. And I think that the former's been too much in people's minds there. And I think I can't actually remember the attacking phase. I can only remember the defensive bit, boys, because I was pissed the other day. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? So I don't know where we were sitting on the 18-yard line, where we were sitting 30 yards. So I can't remember, but I've seen the back, seen the 4-on-1. So I can't actually tell you from my eyes what went wrong there. But I guarantee you, if Rodgers replays that match, which he will do, he'll press pause on that and go at us. Where was Taylor? Where were you? McGregor, why were you in camera shot here? Where were you? There'll be 3 or 4 players, 2 or 3 players minimum, that were supposed to be more disciplined at that stage. It doesn't excuse. I mean, who knows if the story is if the centre back's that far forward that he's 30, 40 yards to goal. 2 players are going to come back. Maybe that's a situation where you've got to be covered by your 6 and your left back or your right back. Who knows? I'd imagine something like that must happen, right? Even if it's no Cam McGregor, Bernardo stepping in. You know what I mean? And something's went wrong there. And I don't think Scales, just to be defensively, Scales a wee teensy bit. I don't think he's went, fuck it, I'm just going to go for this here. I'm going to do the mad draw 7 and score. I think it's been part of at least the game plan for him to get forward and open the pitch up for the wide men and open the pitch up for the half turn on other players. Something's went wrong there. But I think the biggest wrong has been no the move. It's been the ill discipline by, of course, him not getting back in time, but by the defensive cover, because you can't just go 10 forward and forget the back.
But here's the other thing. We were talking about left backs a minute ago. Now, for me, I know people think it's Scales coming on was the more of the catalyst for us being different than the ball. I'll tell you my take on it is the reason we were different than the ball is because Taylor started playing a more auxiliary role at left back. That was the change. And then obviously he comes off eventually. But when Taylor was on the park, he gets the first goal and things. But if you actually look at the positions he was, and it's been pissing me off for a while, to be honest with you. I think he's been given a customised too for his own, just to try and get a bit of form out of him, because he was absolutely murdered at playing the auxiliary left back, or Brendan's idea of a left back for Celtic when Brendan first came back. And it almost like he got this personalised role. Johnston's adapted. He's not playing inverted anymore. He's now a right back in the mind of what the manager wants a right back to do. And it feels like there was a special sort of dispensation gave to Taylor. I think it's went to his head a wee bit, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I don't mean that in terms of his personality off the field. I'm sure he's the exact same guy. But on the field, he strikes me as a player that plays a level above what he actually is. But he's not actually achieving it. And I actually think one of the things that's fucking me off the most, see when he keeps going into that fucking midfield, he's clustering it and giving Trusty less options because there's no space now. And secondly, he is not the guy I want to be on the ball in the centre midfield. I want fucking attack on the ball with a bit of space in centre midfield. I want McGregor, guys that can actually do wee bits of brilliance. Guys that are midfielders, not fullbacks for a fucking reason. Right, it's beginning to annoy me that I think that the real big change for Celtic was when that back four looked more like a stereotypical back four, or certainly what Brendan Rodgers' mindset is of where he wants his 2 fullbacks to play. And that created more space in the middle of the park, which is completely clustered by this extra fucking busy bee in the middle of it going, give me the ball. I'm brilliant on the ball. No, you're fucking not. And you going in there, it's taken away for the good options we are meant to have in there, in terms of our midfielders being what you would like to think are our best footballers in the squad. I want it to be those guys that are getting the ball, and I want them to have more space than they had at the weekend. And I think that's just getting over conjugated because we've got a fullback who's determined to play in there. And I think he got told, I think it was at half time, he's been told, you're going to need to play more a disciplined performance second half. It's not just about you giving the fucking ball away for the goal so casually, because that was criminal in itself. Big casual fullbacks strolling about in the middle of the park. Fuck off with that part. It's just annoying me now. And as you know, I've actually been not one of the haters of Taylor so much. I've had observations of his pros and cons that he's brought to the table. It's not been a campaign or a theory in my head all the time that he's that pish. Big Liam's called it. He'll be feeling a wee bit smug right now, I'm sure, about the performances Taylor's put in of late. But it's about the system, and the system has been adapted to suit one guy, and that was what was coming as a cropper. And that first half was we had a far too busy centre of the park. Trusty didn't have the free, players free enough to be able to get the ball to them. And when we were getting the ball in midfield, it was our fucking Kilmarnock fullback on it, not our international midfielders. A Belgian international coming on. You've got a Japanese international, a former Scotland captain. These guys who played midfield their whole career, I want to be using them and blaming them if they don't do much with the ball. But the fullback going in there and being the most busy, just It's just so frustrating, mate, watching that. And I think the biggest change for us was that change. Sort of went a bit of a rant there, but you know what I mean.
Oh, I love a rant's how I get through my day, to be honest with you, boys. I mean, I don't troll Twitter. I troll the milkman in my work or something, you know what I mean? I love a rant. But listen, there's no confirmation bias. I mean, there's definite observations when it comes to Greg Taylor. I did think last season when he did go more towards the Ange Greg Taylor, that his performances did pick up for a while. You know what I mean? He was at one point last season, you were wondering how he fits in, and then he started to get in midfield a wee bit, and you did see a wee upturn in his performances. It fell off a cliff quickly after that, to be honest with you. I think it's made today with, I think the midfield's a bit, I think the midfield's no working at Celtic. I don't know what it is. There's players in the wrong holes and all the rest of it.
I think fullback. What? Just on the theory I've given you first and foremost, though, do you think that plays a part in that?
It might well be, because if you get somebody coming in, as you say, it's actually congesting the midfield. You know what I mean? And you're
congesting. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Congested.
Hattati's probably, I don't know, he's probably got a 50-yard pitch that he plays on. Hattati, you know what I mean? If you're being serious, he's no going into the 6-yard line to defend, and he rarely is into the 6-yard line to score. So he's probably not got an area of the pitch that he's in, and he likes that wee half turn. He likes to see the pitch opened up in front of him, and maybe that option's took away with him when, if Greg Taylor's running in and there's players running towards him, rather than getting space for Hattati and McGregor, it's just congesting with the area that's there. Who knows? That could be a possible reason for it. I know. And then and in the same attacking misfortune, it opens up that stupid long ball to the left for Daizen Maeda. The World Cup passes only work for Daizen Maeda when he's got the space to run. If you're running in midfield and you're trying this phantom looped ball for Daizen Maeda to try and chest doing or take a good first touch, that isn't his forte. We all know Daizen Maeda's his forte is running onto a ball most times. You know what I mean? He didn't get the ball up in the air and chest it down very often. His goal the other day was sublime. Never forget that goal. And
wow!
But the guy, my Daizen Maeda is a walking, talking contradiction. You see him 1 minute, and as we say, he's like away and trapping a balloon at a party, and then you see him 1 minute, next minute he's gone 30 yards at Easter Road. He's scoring goals
against Leipzig.
Aye,
that shot back and then back post strike. He hits it off the post. That's a
and the one move, folk are shouting to get after. Folk are wanting the guy subbed after the park, and the one move, and half a second later, he's done a wee Christ turn and puts the ball in the corner. That is how contradiction the guy is. He's yin and yang in the same body. You know what I mean, boys? And
he is the most important Japanese player at the club.
Yeah, listen, I don't think we'll ever get to a stage where there'll be another Kyogo, and there'll be another Kasper Schmeichel, and there'll be another Carl McGregor. We won't find somebody. We won't find another Daizen Maeda, mate. We won't.
It's so true.
Don't get me wrong. I genuinely think that give me 2 years management, I could replace him as a player. I could. 7 days a week, I'll fucking do it. I'll train my tennis ball and work my way up. But see, his effort and his dig and the guy just did stop running and see. I must see the goal we lost against Rangers in the first half. I've saw Celtic score 50 goals like that in the last 3 years. That's the first time I saw Celtic lose a goal like that in a very long time, and it's frustrating to see us lose for a pounce pass in the rain half. We're doing that every week, boys, because of guys like Daizen Maeda. You know what I mean? And
is there an irony, Mark, that when he was under Ange, and this come back to you were never sold on him. What sort of thing? Still think you're wrestling it in your head, and you're going, "What the fuck am I even now in love with? How the hell has this happened?" Right? But is there an irony that under Postecoglou, who obviously had the inside track on him, watching him, managing him, I think he came for the club that Ange actually, knew him inside out. It was his number one target when he joined Celtic was Daizen Maeda, not Kyogo, Daizen Maeda. And we had to wait till January, if you remember. That was Ange's number one target was Daizen Maeda. Where's the irony in the fact that Daizen Maeda is 10 times, in my opinion, the player under Brendan Rodgers than he was Ange Postecoglou? I think his game, He is so much more purposeful in everything he does. He is thinking more than he used. Everyone used to be impulse, right? Everything was impulse. See the cutbacks we've seen a couple weeks ago. I think I've referred to this a few times on the channel, so apologies. But it was 2 cutbacks he did in the space of 60 seconds. One was a brilliant block or a brilliant save, and then it's came back out wide to him again. And again, he's checked back, got the head up, found a man. Before he would just ping it in blind. And I know it's a small example, but I just think, look at the amount of look at his output numbers now. Look at the quality he's bringing to the team, as well as all the other amazing ethics that we've all came used to and accustomed to. He's playing the best football of his career under Brendan. I thought last season was an improvement again. This year, he's added more goals, big goals, by the way, as well. I think he's a better player with Rodgers as his manager. And I think I am surprised at that because we've seen it the other way with someone like Kyogo. And if you're actually to bank on it, who you thought, who could get better when Rodgers comes in at the Japanese lot? You'd probably imagine Kyogo under Rodgers. That's quite exciting. Maeda might not be his player because he's technical enough. That's what you'd have thought. It's actually been the other way around. Fascinating.
Well, I mean, we found when Harry Kane, God, what was that guy's name again? The guy we had, the Australian guy played for Liverpool.
Harry Corey.
Huh?
Harry Corey. Harry Ramsden.
Harry
Redknapp.
No, the guy who played for Liverpool and Leeds. He was an Australian captain at one point.
Harry Kewell.
When he was at Celtic Park and he was working one-on-one with guys in Maeda, Maeda's form took a big, massive upturn.
Yeah.
Same here with Rodgers. Rodgers gets in players' heads. He works with them one-on-one. And maybe all he needs is somebody to work one-on-one with him, you know what I mean? But the thing is with Rising Maeda is he's now reaching figures that I never thought he'd reach. I think he's got 11, 10. Is that his 10th goal the other day there? He's got 4 or 5 assists.
Yeah, I think it was his 10th.
And there's still, 2 games left of December? Halfway through the season, you know what I mean? So he could
finish on 20, potentially, yeah.
20 even maybe 10 assists. And that's for a winger, pointing at wingers. And you probably get the same after Kuhn. That's a manager.
Kuhn's already got that, I think.
I know it's not even there than that. I mean, I think Kuhn
is he on 13 and 11 right now?
Something like that's crazy. He's nearly reaching Jota's best season numbers at this stage of the season already.
That's wild.
I think the guy's brilliant. I think he just shows you.
He's off the boil now a wee bit, right? But even there, I still thought he was a threat. He was still a threat, mate. Did you not think he was still a threat, though?
I thought he was great. I mean, people are forgetting the first half.
And that's not him at his best.
The first half, he ran off through one-on-one by doing a wee chop and beating a player. The keeper just came out and pushed the ball away from him. And it felt like, unfortunately, it felt like attack. I think if it felt like anybody else in the stadium, it would have been 1-0 with Celtic. But apart from that,
do you think we should go over the top more?
It seems to work, but I think definitely I wouldn't want to see me tactic for Celtic, but it seems to work sometimes.
If it's horses for courses and that press is beating you though, and I think to be fair, sometimes you've got to hold your hands up and go. Club Brugge read their press. They done their homework. They read their patterns of play. I'm going to give the Belgian his due. I think him and his coaching staff did a very similar job to what the Brugge manager and coaching staff did. And I think they knew and we found it's predictable how we were going to play and where we were going to next put the ball. Lenny kept referring to it. You won't have watched it. You were at the game. I know you had a good time. But Lenny in commentary was brilliant, mate. See, meant to be quotes.
I watched in the Clown Kelly. I didn't get a ticket. I wish I fucking did.
Oh, did you not? He's inside Lenny.
I missed Charlie and Boys. I got pissed. I was watching Charlie and Boys after it, and I was wrecked at my nuts.
Brilliant. That's a great.
I might have seen that. I might have saw them. I don't even know. I don't know.
Lenny was superb, mate. Honestly, I thought he gave real insight. It was interesting from a manager's point of view. But he says, what I'm watching it is Rangers setting traps that he knows Celtic are going to fall into. And I thought it was clever the way he was describing it in the game. But see, when that is then happening, I think then you've got an alternative route to go down. And we've got 3 guys with electric pace. Maeda, Kyogo, and Nicholas Kuhn. And I'm like that. You go long and you make those defenders turn and the pace of them freaks them out. Then guess what? That press will stop pretty quickly. That press you'll be able to force back because they'll be shitting themselves if they think you're going to keep adopting that tactic. Because there's no way 36-year-old Balogun wants to be turning his heels every 2 minutes, for an example. But even at Champions League level, mate, when we're playing against teams that are a higher standard we normally face in Scotland, and To be fair, I think the form Rangers are in right now and the points they've accumulated in the Europa League, it's fair to say are of a higher standard than the rest of the league, other than us. I think when you're against that and they're just the momentum's with them and the press is working, fucking do it 3-4 times. Make them spin. Even if it's a couple of offsides, get their heart racing, get their panic fucking, do you know what I mean? Going, get them starting to go, shit, I forgot how fast he was. I thought we were dominant game because our press was, all our tactics worked and we were reading them like a book. Fuck it, right over the top. And by the way, you don't even need to be that accurate with that front three, Mark. That front three are that electric pace. Suddenly you've got the keeper running out into positions they don't want to do to clear their lines. And it just sets a bit of panic in there. Don't be shy of mixing it up. I think we should have utilised that more in that first half because the 2 times they did, one of them you're referring to just there, it clearly was nearly successful. What are your thoughts on all that?
I don't mind it, I mean, I really like to watch it every week, but there will be horses for courses, as you said there. Of course, I mean, and if it does put a doubt in their mind, then I'm all for it. I mean, we all know, like Tavernier's got a constant fear that he dies in my head running behind him, and Kuhn, I'm pretty sure, puts a fear up anybody at Scottish football. Maybe it's a tactic that we use more often than we think, because you do see balls at the top, but we don't tend to play it. I think there's a romantic side to Rodgers' philosophy where he wants to play football. You know what I mean? There's idealism and there's realism. Sometimes you've got to be real about it and play these passes. In Europe especially, I mean, I've got no doubt in my mind in Europe. I don't mind John Hartson sitting 30 yards for goal and waiting for the ball up to hold it down to a winger. And I don't mind seeing Ida doing it either. You know what I mean? So I don't mind seeing that away from home in Europe against better teams. Of course, it's horses for courses, but I think Celtic wanted to dominate their football and put a foothold in as the best team in Scotland against Rangers. Sometimes you go to just kind of park the ideology a wee bit. And just play to the. Do you
know what's interesting about that as well, pal? After the game, and I don't think you're wrong with me, I think you're absolutely spot on. I think Rodgers does want to be doing it like that, mate, right? I think he wants to. The ideology does kind of take over. But of course, like a politician, would they flip it after the game? It's not about how you get there, it's about the end result. That's what matters. If that is the case, and you're seeing success with a ball that you don't really want your team playing like, but in this particular 90 minutes, it's going to help you get the result that comes first, as you call it. I don't know. That's a weapon to be used. And I think there was chances to do it against Bruges as well.
Well, we've already been here this season remember this season there was talk of Rodgers not being pragmatic enough. A word that's used far too pragmatically, in my opinion. But anyway, I mean, Rodgers, the next match, did play pragmatic and did just hope for the best on some occasions and did stay back and just wait for the openings. So it shows that he does, he is malleable, you know what I mean, at least. But I do think that Celtic, you know what I mean, there's a Celtic way, you know what I mean, playing football, and I think sometimes Rodgers is maybe sticking to it. But I'm not against Celtic running through man one. I mean, look at last season, you know what I mean, I've seen goals this season against Rangers where Celtic have played what looks like a counter-attacking goal. I mean, look at the goal we got chopped off and at Celtic Park. The goal of the season, we get chopped off that much half-side. Remember, the ball was played to McGregor on the half-turn and doing the wing and it was couldn't put it back, and Kyogo scored a beautiful goal. Chopped off. That wasn't a counter-attacking goal with a spin and a 40-yard pass.
The pass that was disallowed at the weekend?
Exactly. So there is, maybe as
there's
I said,
merits in it.
Maybe there's more of that in the game than we realise, because we are seeing long balls. I think what's happening is we're not making the most of these long balls every now and again, and it's just escaping your memory sometimes that we've tried that, because I've seen long balls get tappy, dies in media, and he's got the same left foot up in the air to try and bring it down it just because of his feet or because of his head. You do see that quite a lot. It's like Park, you know what I mean? Maybe once, twice a match. So maybe it's happening more than you think. I mean,
I think as well.
You don't remember them.
Yeah, true. So when you do think of them, you go, fuck, aye. Last thing I'll just say, but I know I've kept you a wee bit longer, Mark, so apologies. I wonder if football works in cycles, tactics-wise and things. And I think, even apparently youth, kids teams will be getting practicing, goal kicks being taken as 5-yard passes to the side and, just built up the back. All Pep Guardiola's school thought, really, isn't it? Just getting conveyed. He now finds himself, I think he's got 1 win in 10, right? And I just wonder if the end of his cycle and his sort of teachings throughout Europe being a thing, yes, it'll take a while for it to sort of peter out. I'm not saying at youth level, but I just wonder if teams are now got wise to it. Like any style of play, eventually it'll change. 4-4-2 looked like it was fucking the be-all, end-all. I remember Mark O'Neill switched us to 3-5-2, and I thought, it's such a better formation. Why does nobody else do this? It's unbeatable. You've got extra bodies in each fucking, in both defence and in midfield. And in my mind, I was like, I just wonder if the cycle of the tiki-taka is maybe just be epitomised by Guardiola's failings right now. 1 win in 10, remember? And not having the answers. That's the only way you play. How do you get yourself out of a sticky situation? And it'll come back to that. Well, you just do plan A better. But if plan A is now being found out a bit, then what? I just wonder if you... Whilst I think the best thing for Celtic is the more that shite falls out of fashion, the better, because it's all about winning games. I think fans now of all clubs want far too much about the style of play, the philosophy. Nobody cares if you're winning every week, mate. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. If we're getting results, as long as it's combined to Europe. If you're getting results in Europe and domestically, mate, I guarantee you, everyone will call you a genius no matter what the style is. Everyone will call you a genius no matter what.
I think this tiki-taka or whatever, I think that's what he's called. But I think, even get back to the teams I watched the 90s, the teams I remember. I mean, you think back, you go, Tosh McKinley, right, a left back. What's he most famous for? Go down the wing, toss the ball in. He wasn't a 40-yard passer of the ball. You look at Jackie McNamara, he wasn't pinging 50-yard passes. He was making crosses for the 20-yard line. Celtic have always had overlapping defenders. So we've always had that attacking defensive approach. Which changed for the end now is, used to be keeper to defender, straight to midfield. Now it's pinged about 3 or 4 times, bring pressure on. So eventually that will probably be petered out, as you said. There'll be a new style of play. As you said there, 4-4-2 was all the range for years, and then we tried the 4-2-2-2 under, I think that was Barnes. I think
that was John Barnes.
Yeah, what for a while.
Remember the goals we scored?
Well, we look at John Barnes' season. Actually look. I think I still say to this day, if we didn't get BFM in this Cali, he was getting that full season, because you look at his home record, and there was a couple of defeats. There was one with 2-0 against Hearts, and they beat us 3-2 at the last minute penalty. Cameron scored, but you look at a lot of results that season. There was lots of 5s and 6s. You look at results. There was a lot of fucking 5s and 6s for Celtic. It was working. We were getting overloads in midfield and all the rest of it. And the 3-5-2 was actually a 3-2-5. Let's be honest with you. When we were attacking, boys, it was a 3-2-5. When it was just we were all our teams with the 3-5-2, and then folk sussed that out, and so there's always
because O'Neill started with 3-5-2 and then went 4-4-2, and 4-4-2 was faded out. And when it was like almost playing reverse psychology. The first time we played 4-4-2 was at Ibrox, and McNamara played right back. Livingston was having a field day with us for a couple of years. Remember, he was he was the thorn on our side, and it was a wee prick, but he was a thorn on our side. And O'Neill went, "How do I stifle this?" And he went, McNamara, the captain's armband, because he'd been out the team for quite a bit. Put McNamara right back, a gap right mid. I think it was a gap right mid, and then it was now you've doubled up on him. Suddenly we played 4-4-2. And he kind of stuck. With it after that. But he played it when it was going out of fashion, like he was playing devil's advocate with it all. Kenny Dalglish Senior comes in, and listen, I've interviewed the real Kenny Dalglish Senior, so I'm not quite sure who you are, mate. But he says, if you think one half of a season is enough to stop a philosophy that's been prevalent for like 20 years, you're going to be mistaken. Well, time will tell on that, because what I also noticed...
There's a fashion. Football's full of fashion.
Football formations shift. If you think it will be the same formations that are involved for another 20 years, then you'll be mistaken, sir. With all due respect, because I also look at the reason that the Southampton managers got sacked last week. Again, he is stuck by this. Give it the moving by kicks, 5-yard pass. Everyone's got to be played at the back. Suddenly, it's just getting found out massively down there. The fans have all fell out with him. Sometime eventually, It's all about the 3 Ps: philosophy, plaudits, and points. And philosophy is what is an in vogue word that people seem to want to hear every manager's thoughts on it. Plaudits is what all these managers get if they see the philosophy succeeding on the park, and points becomes the third least priority. Then what happens is, after the honeymoon period, and usually the points kind of follow the other two anyway, initially, when you get the manager bounce. But what's happening now is, I think fans are now swinging back to, actually, let me prioritise that again. And I want points, plaudits, philosophy in that order. And I think you will see changes happen again. And anyone who thinks things stay the same forever, just because it's been 20 years, how long's football been going on for?
No, I think the first time we saw that kind of football was probably about 2013, 14. So I think 20 years is probably an exaggeration. The first time we saw Scottish football was under Rodgers. Rodgers changed Scottish football in
2016. Yeah.
He's about 2 years behind Barcelona and all the rest of it.
Yeah, a wee bit before that. I think Guardiola was 2007. Believe it or not.
Exactly. Well,
yeah, mate.
2008.
He was about 36, 37.
I know I don't. But regardless of the point, I don't think there's always fads in football. You know what I mean? Like God, I think you will still see keepers doing what they're doing just now because it's just seems to be. But I'm not agreeing with your point just for the sake of it. There will be, there's always shifts in football. Even if it's a hybrid. If it's a hybrid,
we've seen them.
What you've seen now and what you've seen before.
We're giving real life examples of it, mate. We're just giving you examples that we've seen in our football supporting life. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the Rangers are still playing kick and rush football, and they're still playing it in the 1880s. I mean, they are. And listen, fair play to them. They've won a lot of trophies, and the old guys doing it. So, but it's each to their own. But football does change, and just we'll be the last ones to find out because football. We don't see football changing before our eyes, boys. Football slowly changes. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen at night. This is years and years in the training run. We had a post coming, like.
That's me off. It's because I'm wearing my ultras jacket tonight, mate. So
I was fighting there, mate. After you and John beating.
Just chatting about the gang, mate. I'm going to go. I'm just going to get a flare and chase the post. Right, we'll call it there. That was superb, Mark. Really enjoyed that. Thanks, everyone who's watched. There's been 150 folk on for the last hour and 20 minutes. I know.
Corey's on. What's it? Corey's on. Emma Day was on. You're watching those two clowns.
I know.
Oh, thanks for tuning in, of course.
I don't know if you've seen that cat just ran up to the window there to grass me in that I'm in. Yes, him up the window of the postman. He's here. Right, we'll see you later. Cheers, Mark.